Hey, welcome, I'm Kingston, and on this channel we learn new skills and build good life habits. So recently YouTube suggested me a video called Diabolical Sudoku. Now if you haven't seen this video before, it is miraculous. It starts off with only 2 numbers on the grid, a certain set of restrictions, and somehow Simon ends up solving the thing.
There's no way that this... Well, it might have a unique solution, but it's not going to be findable by a human being.
As he's going through it, every number that he puts in feels like a miracle to him.
Oh, here, that gives us a 2 at the top. Don't believe it. I don't believe this. This is magic. We are watching magic unfold here.
That was so much fun to see. This sole video inspired me to learn how to solve Sudokus, but not just any Sudoku, the hardest possible Sudoku you can solve, a diabolical level Sudoku. So the following morning, I went to a convenience store, printed off a diabolical Sudoku, and vowed to myself to solve the diabolical Sudoku within that day. But that probably didn't happen. No, probably not. This could take me 100 hours. This could take me a couple hours. I really have no idea. And let's begin. Already I can see 7, 7, 7, place for 7. This technique is called single position. It's what pretty much all solvers can figure out using their own logic, since there has to be a 1 to 9 in every row, column, and box. That's why the 7 needs to go here. We have a 2 and a 2 and a 2 across here, so a 2 can go either here or here. This is what I've heard cracking the Cryptic calls Snyder notation, where when you've narrowed a number down to only being possible in 2 boxes, then you pencil mark the numbers in. This is going to be a 2, or this is going to be a 2. Over the next several minutes, I basically did these 2 things over and over again. And finally we got to this point where I had to use a different strategy. One that is still fairly logical and most people can probably figure out on their own. And so this has to be an 8 or a 9 and an 8 or a 9. 1, 2, 3, 8 and 9. So the 1, 2, and the 3 have to go in these. Oh yeah, look, we got this 2 and this 2, so this has to be a 2. So we took the information that we gained from the column and then applied it to the box. And I noticed this sort of pattern happens a lot, so I had to keep my eye out for it. I thought this Sudoku was going to be difficult right off the bat, but it really wasn't. And that's because I went into this without doing any research to find out what makes a diabolical Sudoku so diabolical. There are different strategies you can use when you're trying to solve a Sudoku. There are incredibly easy ones like the ones I just showed you, but there are also very, very difficult ones to spot, like one called a swordfish where you need to see a pattern in 6 different boxes. This is a list of most of the popular techniques you can use when solving a Sudoku. As you can see, swordfish is way down here with a rating of 8,000. Compare that to the single candidate which we talked about earlier, only of 100. And here is a list of the difficulty scores for each level of Sudokus. And as you can see, going from beginner to diabolical, there is a huge difference. In a diabolical Sudoku, you're almost guaranteed to need one of these very, very difficult strategies in order to solve the puzzle. These very difficult strategies are usually needed near the middle or the end of solving the Sudoku. That's why solving the Sudoku was so easy in the beginning. So it was at this point that I started to look up some of those advanced strategies to see if I could connect them to the puzzle I was trying to solve right now. But then my brain short-circuited and I messed up. I thought I found something called an X-wing. Here we have a 7, a 7, a 7, and a 7, all with just one other number. We know that the 7 has to be either here and here or here and here. And what this allows us to do is say, this cannot be a 7. That could be wrong. Yeah, actually, that is completely wrong. That makes no sense at all. Close, but, well, not really close at all. I could go into why it's wrong, but I'll just skip ahead and show you what happened. This has to be a 5. Oh, yeah, 2 5s next to each other? That's not gonna fly. So I had to start over. I went back to the convenience store and printed out more than one this time because I knew I might mess up again. All right, we are back and I'm gonna catch up to the point where I was before. And it was a lot easier the second time around. I made quick progress back to the spot that I was in before when my brain short-circuited. And I almost made the same mistake again. But luckily I caught myself and I worked around in a different direction. This 7 should not be written here. Let's look at this row. We need a 7 somewhere in this row. It's not gonna be there, it's not gonna be there. It's not gonna be there because of this 7, which means it has to be here, here, or here. well, this can't be a 7, which means this has to be an 8. I hope to God this is correct. So that saved me a lot of time. After this, I solved a couple more clues using like simple logic, but then I was really stuck, incredibly stuck, staring at the grid for 4 hours and not finding another clue stuck. But despite how much I looked at the advanced strategies, I couldn't see anything until I read about forcing chains. And that is how the rest of this puzzle started to get solved. Last night, I spent another 4 hours trying to figure out the Sudoku puzzle, and I made 0 progress. 0. Something just popped for me this morning. So I have not written it down yet, but I think I got it, so let's get into it. So what I figured out is that if I put a 1 in here, this is still going to be an 8. And if I put a 3 in here, this is still going to be an 8. And if that is the case, then you know that this is an 8. If this is a 3, then this has to be a 7. This has to be a 1. This has to be a 7 then, because we need a 7 in this box, but this is blocked off. 7 cannot be there, so this is an 8. Remember that. Now, if we start with a 1 and we go this other way, this is a 1, this is a 3, this is a 1, this is a 3, which means this has to be an 8, this has to be a 1, and then this still has to be an 8. Whew. That is just crazy. And I think that is going to help me solve a lot of stuff. That logical sequence that I just pulled off ended up allowing me to solve the rest of the puzzle in a fairly simple manner, which is crazy to me. I spent more than half of my solve time at one particular point, and because I couldn't figure out the solution there, I wasted 4 hours of time. This is exactly why trying to solve a diabolical Sudoku without knowing the advanced strategies well it's pretty dumb, but it was still fun. Right here, we got the 1 up here already. Oh, this can't be a 1. So this is our 7. 7 and our 3, and that is it. Because of that one small thing, you could solve the rest of the puzzle. That's how close I was. But now I have completed it. Wow, that is a good feeling. Now, I solved a diabolical Sudoku puzzle, but it feels like I got lucky. I wasn't able to solve it because I understood how Sudoku strategies work. I solved it through trial and error, and it just wasn't good enough for me. I didn't start this challenge because I wanted to get lucky once. I really wanted to learn how to solve a diabolical Sudoku puzzle. And if I stopped now, I didn't really know how to solve one. It took me 8 hours. So over the next week, I kept solving them and solving them and solving them until I solved a diabolical puzzle in under an hour. And once I did that, I felt confident that I could go back to the original puzzle and solve it within an hour as well. So I revisited the same Sudoku, the same one that caused me so much trouble in the beginning. And I went through the same logical sequence to get back to that one spot. Something popped up. Something so glorious and miraculous. I was so happy. It's called a skyscraper. All right, I can finally see it. I can see what I needed to do in that spot where I got stuck for 4 hours before. And it has to do with these 1s. In this row, a 1 can only go here or here. And in this row, a 1 can only go here or here. So if we look at this form right here, this is called a skyscraper. The 1s have to go either here and here or here and here, which means a 1 has to go either here or here. So any other box that sees both of these cannot be a 1, meaning this one cannot be a 1. So this is a 3. And I believe that will help me solve the rest of the puzzle. And with that finish, I was satisfied. And I think going forward, I'm going to continue to solve diabolical Sudokus every week. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Cracking the Cryptic. Thank you to sudokuoftheday.com. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling up to it. And I'll catch you later.